The Woman of Samaria.
Behold, God is my Savior. I will deal confidently and will not fear. Because the Lord is my strength and my praise, and he has become my salvation. You shall draw waters with joy out of the Savior's fountain. And you shall say in that day, praise ye the Lord, and call upon his name. Make his works known among the people. Remember that his name is high.
After the Passover, Jesus remained in Jerusalem for some time, and then went to the crossing of the Jordan, where he taught his disciples to preach and baptize. John, ever under the watchful eyes of informers of Pilate and the Pharisees, had moved northward toward Galilee, ruled by Herod Antipas, who had greatly offended his people in that he had driven out his lawful wife and taken for himself and married Herodias, who was the wife of one half-brother and the daughter of another.
Stop! Stop the horses, Antipas.
Now, what is it, Herodias?
That group of men at the water's edge. Isn't that the preacher we've heard so much about?
By Jove, it is.
Call him over. I'd like to speak to him.
Why, what about? The man is a rabble-rouser and dangerous.
Oh, be a nice husband, Antipas, and let me see this dangerous, wild man.
Oh, very well, Herodias. Oh, soldier! Now tell that man over there, in the camel's hair, tell him Herod Antipas demands to see him.
In what way is he dangerous?
Well, he's keeping the people on edge with his talk about a coming Messiah. If he continues, he can arouse them to revolt. I'm surprised Pilate hasn't arrested him. I've a mind to drop a hint to Tiberius that Pilate's lax in dealing with agitators.
Why, here he comes. Taking his time about it, too.
You are the one they call John the Baptist?
Yes, Herod.
Is it true you denied that you are the Messiah, or Elias, or the prophet?
I am none of these.
Who are you, then?
A voice in the wilderness.
Oh, how quaint. What does this voice say to the people?
Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
Oh, my, how boring. A gloomy preacher of doom. How you must frighten these country people. But what have you to say to the Tetrarch of Galilee?
It is not lawful for thee to have thy brother's wife.
What? Why, you insolent beggar!
Swine! How dare you? Guards, arrest this man!
Guards! Guards, hold fast! Hold fast! I must not arrest him here, Herodias.
What? This filthy mouthed lout insults me, your wife. He tells me I'm not your wife, and you...
Be quiet. That mob will tear us apart if we put a hand on him. Don't you understand? We're still in Judea. I have no jurisdiction.
John the Baptist, you'll not escape. I'll never forget this insult. I'll have your head for this. Your head! I'll have your head brought to me on a silver platter.
On to Enon, near Salem, for there was much water there, and continued his work. But because Jesus was teaching baptism to his followers at the Jordan, there arose much discussion and questioning concerning the two men.
I'll ask him about it. Rabbi?
What is it?
Men from Jerusalem are among us, and they are raising certain questions about purification by water. And they cause discussion, and they speak of him who is doing your work at the Jordan. Rabbi, he who was with thee beyond Jordan, to whom thou hast borne witness, behold, he baptizes, and all are coming to him.
Come closer, all of you, and hear what I have to say. No one can receive anything unless it is given to him from heaven. You yourselves bear the witness that I said, I am not the Christ, but have been sent before him. He who has the bride is the bridegroom, but the friend of the bridegroom, who stands and hears him, rejoices exceedingly at the voice of the bridegroom. This my joy, therefore, is made full. He must increase, but I must decrease.
John's words stirred deeply those about him, and they were both puzzled and alarmed. And it was not lost on the informers from Jerusalem that greater crowds were flocking to Jesus than to John. They sensed that Jesus was the man they should watch, and went back to the Jordan, and John crossed the river into the territory of Antipas.
Repent, do penance, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. I baptize thee in water, but him to whom I have borne witness will baptize with fire and the Holy Spirit. Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
Soldiers! Arrest that man! Bind him fast! Bind him fast and take him to the fortress! Herodias, I have news for you.
Good news, I hope. I needed to take the pall off this gloomy fortress.
I've arrested John the Baptist.
You have? Oh, Antipas, this is good news. Where is he?
In the dungeon, below this very room.
Antipas, don't behead him at once. Let me have my amusement with him. Let me prolong his anxiety to the full. Let him know that I can order his death any time I choose.
Now, wait a moment, Herodias. I don't intend to execute him.
What?
I must hold him until I can get in touch with Pilate.
But why must you consult him?
Well, John has followers. I had to arrest him, or Pilate would accuse me of permitting an agitator to run loose.
But I tell you, he must die.
Yes, but not by my hand.
Are you afraid, Antipas?
Oh, this is a political question. You must not let your personal feeling enter into it.
You may regard it as political, but don't expect me to. That man's defiled our marriage with his insults.
I tell you, I can't execute him.
But Antipas, you... Oh, Antipas, darling, let's forget about him. Let's not quarrel. Let's not have him come between us. Come, Antipas. Kiss me. There. Let that kiss be a sign that we've forgotten all about John the Baptist. Let him rot in prison.
Rabbi, I've just come from John's camp. Antipas has arrested him and imprisoned him in his palace.
Come. We must leave this place.
Where shall we follow you?
Into Galilee.
Now there were two roads into Galilee. One along the Jordan, the other through Samaria, a land unfriendly to the Jews of Galilee and Judea. Jesus decided to take the road through Samaria, and at the end of the first day's journey, they came to Jacob's well at a place called Sychar.
I would rest here.
Rabbi, while you rest, we will go into the village and buy food. Come, men. It is the 6th hour, and we must hurry.
Jesus sat on a wall near the well and waited for the return of his companions. When they had been gone for some time, he looked up and saw a woman approaching. She lowered a bucket into the well.
Give me to drink.
How is it that thou, although thou art a Jew, dost ask drink of me, a Samaritan woman?
If thou didst know the gift of God, and who it is who says to thee, give me to drink, thou perhaps wouldst have asked of him, and he would have given thee living water.
Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. Whence then hast thou living water? Art thou greater than our father Jacob, who gave us the well, and drank from it himself, and his sons, and his flocks?
Everyone who drinks of this water will thirst again. He, however, who drinks of the water I will give him will never thirst. But the water that I will give him shall become in him a fountain of water, springing up into life everlasting.
Sir, give me this water that I may not thirst, or come here to draw.
Go, call thy husband, and come here.
I have no husband.
Thou hast said well, I have no husband, for thou hast had 5 husbands.
Why?
And he whom thou now hast is not thy husband. In this thou hast spoken truly.
Sir, I see that thou art a prophet. Our fathers worshipped on this mountain, but you say that at Jerusalem is the place where one ought to worship.
Woman, believe me, the hour is coming when neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem will you worship the Father. You worship what you do not know. We worship what we know, for salvation is from the Jews. But the hour is coming, and is now here, when the true worshippers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father also seeks such to worship him. God is spirit, and they who worship him must worship in spirit and in truth.
I know that the Messiah is coming, and when he comes, he will tell us all things.
I who speak with thee am he.
You are... Oh, men are coming. I must go. They would think it not right for me to speak with you.
It was Jesus' companions returning from the village who frightened the Samaritan woman away. And they wondered that he was speaking with a woman. Yet no one questioned him or raised up a voice to ask, "Why dost thou speak with her?" But they busied themselves with preparing the meal. And when it was ready, one of them brought some food to the place where he was standing deep in his own thoughts.
Rabbi, eat.
I have food to eat, of which you do not know. My food is to do the will of him who sent me, to accomplish his work. Do you not say, there are yet 4 months, and then comes the harvest? Well, I say to you, lift up your eyes, and behold that the fields are already white for the harvest. And he who reaps receives a wage, and gathers fruit unto life everlasting, so that the sower and the reaper may rejoice together. For herein is the proverb true: one sows, another reaps. I have sent you to reap that on which you have not labored. Others have labored, and you have entered into their labors.
Well, what is it?
Come at once.
What's the matter?
A man at the well of Jacob. He told me all that I have ever done.
Go home, woman. Each man here knows well what you have done.
But this man's a stranger. He knows me not.
Now, what's this all about?
He told me everything. I told him we knew the Messiah was coming. He said, I who speak with thee am he.
You're sure?
Yes. Can he be the Christ?
Come, let's go to the well.
Look, a crowd of Samaritans, and that woman leading them. Gather around the master. They may try to do him harm.
Are you the man who spoke to this woman?
No, why do you seek him?
To bid him welcome, and to ask him not to move on, but to tarry here with us that we may listen to him.
Wait here. I will give him your message.
When this message was received by Jesus, he agreed to stay among the Samaritans for 2 days, and they listened to all he had to say. And during these days and more, John the Baptist was locked in prison, and he was permitted to receive visitors. Antipas himself had visited John in his cell and talked to him many hours, and he found it hard not to return to him. For whatever Antipas was or had been, he was not a man without fear, and he knew that John might be of help to him in a political way, perhaps even in other ways. For Antipas was beginning to be aware of his own soul.
John, have you considered my proposal?
No, I have not.
What? I tell you, you can walk out of here a free man if you'll but promise never to come into my territory. And you don't even consider it?
I can make no bargain with you or anyone.
But why not?
I must do the will of God. I am a messenger going where called, where needed.
And you give me no other choice but to keep you in prison.
Keeping me in prison will not affect one cubit the coming of the kingdom of heaven or the revelation of the one whom I was sent to bear witness.
The one you were sent to... Tell me, John, where can I find him?
He stood among the many at the crossing of the Jordan.
He's not in Galilee. One of you is enough trouble between some wanting your head and others your release. And I, John, I have no ill will toward you. I'm pressed by the Romans and Pilate, who's but waiting his chance to see trouble in my territory, so he can send in troops. Now, why can't you stay away and give me peace? And why did you have to speak out before my wife Herodias, who nags me for your head, knowing there's little in life I can refuse her? But she'll not win. I am Tetrarch. Hear me, John. Herodias will not have your head. Never.
And Jesus remained in Sychar 2 days, and taught the people of the kingdom of God. Then he went into Galilee. The Samaritan woman told her story over and over, and many believed because of what she told them.
Didn't I tell you, even as I said to him, thou art a prophet? Then he looked into my heart and told me all I had ever done. And when I spoke of the Messiah, it was then he said to me, I who speak to thee am he.
Be silent. It's not proper for a woman to discuss such things.
But it was I who spoke to him and ran to you with the news.
We no longer believe because of what thou hast said. For we have heard ourselves, and we know that this is in truth the Savior of the world.
And Jesus crossed into Galilee and journeyed toward Nazareth, where he had grown to manhood, and where every man knew him. After a long absence, Jesus was going to his own country, where a prophet hath no honor.
Behold, God is my Savior. I will deal confidently and will not fear. Because the Lord is my strength and my praise, he has become my salvation. You shall draw waters with joy out of the Savior's fountain.
Welcome, one and all, to the sign of the Flying Red Horse. The makers of Mobile Gas and Mobile Oil bring you Orson Welles.
Hello, folks. Good evening, everybody. This is Orson Welles. Tonight, the Mercury Wonder Show is pitching its tents at Camp Cook near Lompoc, California. We always make it a practice to arrive a little early at these camps so we can spend a few hours getting acquainted with the men. And this afternoon, I was having a cup of coffee, and a PFC came over and asked me for my autograph. And I said, sure. Where do you want me to sign? He said, right here on this piece of toast. I said, you mean you want me to sign my name on a piece of toast? He said, yeah, after what we've been getting on that toast, your name will be a pleasure. But you really, seriously, you meet some interesting fellows around the service club. One fellow I spoke with had a chest full of ribbons. I asked him what the blue one was, and he said, campaign ribbon. I got that on the beach at Casablanca. And I said, what's the green one? He said, campaign ribbon. I got that one on the beach at Messina. And then I said, what's the red one? He said, lipstick. I got that on the beach at Pismo. And I got talking to a couple of MPs for the benefit of our listeners, radio audience. An MP is a military policeman. A military policeman who really likes to see a soldier have a good time. In fact, there's one thing, only one thing an MP likes better, and that's preventing a soldier from having a good time. But the MPs really do a great job no matter where they are. In one camp I entertained, we had Gypsy Rose Lee on the show. Quite an accomplished artiste. And would you believe it, in the middle of her act, two MPs jumped up on the stage and tried to arrest Gypsy for being out of uniform. Well, that's what I call devotion to duty. Comes time now for you to meet our guest of the evening, a lovely young star who was recently voted by you men as the girl you would most like to stand guard duty with, Susan Hayward.
Thanks a lot, fellas. Hello, Orson.
Susan, where'd you disappear to? We arrived here at 3 o'clock. I haven't seen you since.
Well, I got talking to one of the soldiers. Such a sweet boy. He invited me out with him tomorrow. Some social function they have every few weeks. I think it's called bivouac.
Bivouac. Oh, yes, that's a sort of a camping trip where the soldiers roast marshmallows and have scads of fun.
Sort of a picnic, huh? Does the wax go along?
No, it's not that much of a picnic. That soldier, he must have been a cute kid, this soldier you're talking to, Susan.
Oh, he was nice. He took me to the map room and showed me the gun emplacements, and then he asked me if I'd like to see some field operations.
He couldn't have been an ordinary soldier. Did he have any stripes on his sleeve?
No stripes. Oh, but he must have been doing very good in school, because he had a silver star on each shoulder.
Just a plain soldier, yes. Well, Susan, we've cooked up a nice little playlist for you to appear in tonight. We think it's nice anyway. But while the sound man is setting up his door slam, let's listen while Kay Thompson sings Louisiana Purchase with a fine group of Thompsonian singers.
Oh, Louisiana Purchase, I'll tell you what it means. It means I'd like to tell you New Orleans. Come on, New Orleans, go to town way down to New Orleans. Louisiana salesman with nothing in his jeans. That's why I'd like to tell you New Orleans. Come on, New Orleans, go to town way down to New Orleans. Where does that heat come from? That rhythmic beat come from? And that red meat come from? New Orleans. Louisiana Purchase, I've told you what it means. It means I'd like to tell you New Orleans. Come on, and you can go to town, way down in New Orleans. You can take your Philadelphia scrapple and your Boston baked beef, but the love of my life is New Orleans. Louisiana is just a few points above Louisiana. That's where those blue points come from, Louisiana, down in New Orleans. New Orleans is in Louisiana. Louisiana, my home is in Louisiana. New Orleans, where they have the Mardi Gras, picture. I'll tell you what it means. If you want to make a purchase, people give you purchase at a price. Now ain't that nice? Oh, no place could be grander. No place could be grander than my Louisiana. Louisiana, 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 Louisiana. Louisiana, my home. No place could be grander. No place could be grander than my Louisiana. New Orleans, Louisiana. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Louisiana is for sale. Do you wanna buy it? It's for sale.
Now there's a song. Could be if I could sing, I'd sing the praises of Mobile Oil to that. Mobile Oil, Mobile Oil, Mobile Oil. But honest, folks, your car deserves a good, fresh dose of Mobile Oil, the largest selling motor oil on earth. Think back. When did you last change your oil? You know, summer driving calls for summer oil. Don't drive with thin, tired winter oil. It's risky. Your motor runs especially hot in summer. And that thin, worn oil can break down easily, expose important engine parts to damage. Do right by your car, folks. Have the crankcase filled up with summer Mobile Oil, the right grade for hot, dusty driving days. Mobile Oil is built for today's wartime driving. It guards each vital engine part against friction. Actually helps to keep your engine clean. Drive in at the sign of the Flying Red Horse. And to see your car run better, longer, ask for Mobile Oil.
And now, without further ado, the Mercury Players present a little GI fable, a drama of life in these United States, the year 1944. The scene, a little bungalow not far from the aeroplane plant, where our hero, Harvey Watson, is employed. As we look in on him now, Harvey is puttering around the kitchen. Oh, happy days are here again. Oh, happy days are. Just a minute. Happy days are here. Hello, Newton.
Hello, Harvey. What are you so happy about?
Why shouldn't I be happy? My wife's coming home tonight. She's got a 2-week furlough. Oh, happy days are here again. Come in, Newton. Don't slam the door. I've got a cake in the oven. Somebody's coming to our house, to our house, to our house.
How did Judy manage to get a furlough so soon?
Oh, she did something very clever, and they rewarded her for it. Seems some of the girls were repairing the colonel's Jeep, and one of the girls started to install a bazooka instead of an exhaust pipe. Judy discovered it just in time to keep the wax from having the only colonel in the Army with jet propulsion. What a girl. There she is, there she is. How do I look?
Oh, fine.
Oh, I don't. My hair's a mess. Help me out of this apron. Coming.
Harvey.
Judy. Gosh, you look wonderful. Let me look at you.
Oh, Harvey.
Oh, Judy. Darling, you got your stripe.
Uh-huh. Technician, 5th grade.
How wonderful. Kiss me. Honey, you're a 1st grade technician.
Well, I guess I better be going.
Hey, what's your hurry, Newton? See you next month.
Oh, gosh, how I've missed you.
Not half as much as I've missed you, honey. I'm proud of you in that uniform and everything, but did you have to join up on our honeymoon?
Well, darling, you know I wanted to wait till we got back from Niagara Falls.
Oh, I know. Your mother talked you into it. We never should have taken her along.
Well, let's forget it, dear. I've got a 2-week furlough. And what's wrong with having our honeymoon now?
What's wrong? Oh, Judy. I wonder who that is.
Mother! Oh, your majority has come through. Gosh, gold maple leaves.
Hello, Mother, and congratulations, Major.
At ease. Smoke if you like.
Gee, you look wonderful in that uniform, Mother.
Don't be so formal. Call me Major.
Well, come on in, Mother, and sit down. Make yourself comfortable.
Now, quit polishing the apple. Well, I finally got with the outfit I've been hoping for.
Which one is that, Mother?
112th Paratroopers.
Well, I'm so happy for you, Mother. I mean, Major.
Won't you stay and have dinner with us?
I might as well. I'm hungry enough to eat a bear. Go ahead, Harvey. Get the chow on.
Yes, sir. I mean, Mother. I'll put the food on.
How long is your furlough, Judy?
2 weeks.
So's mine. Say, I've got a wonderful idea. I'll stay here with you, Judy. You could use a little indoctrination.
Harvey! Harvey, what happened?
I dropped the mashed potatoes.
Oh, that was a wonderful dinner, Harvey. Wasn't it, Mother?
It might have been with mashed potatoes.
Oh.
Come, Judy, let's have our coffee inside while Harvey cleans up the dishes.
Well, couldn't I come inside and talk a while, too?
Come, Harvey, no gold bricking. I said do the dishes. That's a detail. Now get on the ball.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Old battle axe, button into everything.
What are you planning to do with your furlough, daughter?
Well, Harvey and I haven't really had a honeymoon, Mother, so I'm just going to spend this 2 weeks with Harvey.
Sounds monotonous. That's right, Butterfingers.
Butterfingers. Steady, Harvey. Put that knife down. You'll never get away with it.
Well, Mother, we won't be together every night. On Fridays, Harvey usually goes to the fight.
Oh, the fight. Those men who say they're going out to the fight.
Ground glass might do it. Ground glass would show up in the autopsy. Let me see now.
Well, all I know is I was married for 20 years, and my husband never left home to see a fight.
He didn't have to.
Before your father and I agreed to a divorce, he never drank, never smoked, gave me his pay envelope sealed, and never stayed out one night. He was a pretty fair man. I guess he's dead now.
He's not dead. He's hiding.
Yes, your father was a good man, Judy. And when I think of the men you could have had, and what you wound up with. You better tell him to stop, Judy, before he wrecks the plumbing, too.
I'll be through in a minute, dear. A revolver might do it. You see, Your Honor, we were just looking at the gun. I didn't know it was loaded. No, that's an old one. That won't do it.
Oh, darling, let me finish.
Nonsense, you're tired. Let Harvey do them. Come to think of it, we will all be tired. Maybe we'd better turn in.
All right. Mother, you take the bedroom, and Harvey and I will manage all right down here on the daybed.
You'll do nothing of the sort. You deserve a good, soft bed.
Mother's right, Judy.
Well, if you insist, Mother.
I certainly do. Go right upstairs. I'll be up in a minute. Harvey can sleep down here. Well, lucky I brought the field kit. We'll have something to eat out of tomorrow. Good night, Harvey.
Good night, Mother.
Good night, Harvey.
Good night, Judy. Night, Judy. Good night, Judy. Well, guess I might as well turn in.
No.
Oh, the cat. Here, Tom. Here, Tom. Come on. We've been out late enough. Come on, Tom. Get in here before Mother takes away your good conduct ribbon. Well, what's the matter? What's the matter?
Everybody up.
I'm sorry, Mother. I didn't realize it was after 5. I'll get the coffee on right away.
Very well. Call me. I'll be in the garden.
Good morning, Harvey.
Oh, Judy, I can't stand this any longer. I've had 2 weeks of it, and it's driving me nuts. I'm going to a psychoanalyst.
Oh, but, darling, look, I can't say anything to her. She's my superior officer.
But does she have to play soldier all the time? Just because I forgot to kiss her goodnight, I got gigged.
KP again today?
Yeah, KP. And those GI practical jokes of her.
Now, honey, look, she won't be here very long.
I know, but I don't care if she is your mother. I don't like anybody tying knots in my dental floss. Well, I just don't, that's all. What if I do like a little snack late at night? That's not funny, putting a booby trap in the icebox.
Well, where's breakfast?
I was just going to get it, Mother. Here we are.
Well, this hasn't been a bad furlough. But I think I'll go back to camp this morning.
Oh, do you have to, Mother? Ow!
Excuse me, dear. Was that your shin that bumped into my foot?
There's a train in 15 minutes. Wonder if I can make it.
Can you make it? We'll help you. Grab that sack, Judy. I've got this one.
Push me down!
Goodbye, Mother.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Judy, dear. You may kiss me now. By the number. Parker. Up, 2, 3.
I guess I've got a little goodbye kiss for Mother, too.
Don't get mushy.
Oh, Judy, darling.
Oh, Harvey, alone at last. Now, look, don't feel badly about Mother, dear. We still have all day together. A whole wonderful day.
Yeah. And just think we can sleep right through till 8 o'clock tomorrow.
And no bugle waking us up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Harvey, do you love me?
Yeah. Wait till I put these dishes away, huh?
Kiss me?
You bet I will. Now, who can that be? Judy, it's the Colonel.
Grandma! Just got a 24-hour pass. Thought I'd spend it with you. Patty! Smoke, if you like.
A car drives in at the sign of the Flying Red Horse. It's grimy, weather-beaten, and dull. That car looks like Sam Hill. Now we'll allow a few seconds for transformation. That same car drives out like a showroom job. It's gleaming, sparkling, the colors restored. Enter looking like 2 cents, exit looking like $1 million. What went on? Mobile gloss and mobile wax went on. The body of that car got those 2 famous beautifiers, mobile gloss and mobile wax. You can do it yourself or have them applied by your friendly mobile gas dealer. Mobile gloss, which goes on first, cleans the finish and restores its original color and brilliance. Next, a sturdy, shining coat of mobile wax protects the surface, brings up the luster, keeps it gleaming for months. Try it. It's so easy. And the results are a knockout. You won't know your own car, folks. Drive in at the sign of the Flying Red Horse and ask for mobile gloss and mobile wax. Also, get your free use tax stamp protector. Have your mobile gas dealer paste it over the use tax stamp on your windshield. It protects your stamp when the windshield's washed or polished. Get yours free.
Thanks, Lou. And now our Mercury All-Star Jazz combination, which I think we should mention, includes the following great instrumentalists. Kid Ory trombone, Zutty Singleton drums, Bud Scott guitar, Ed Garland bass, Norman Bowden trumpet, and Fred Washington piano. They offer you now Royal... Tonight I'm going to read to you a couple of speeches from Shakespeare's Richard II, in scenes 2 and 3, Act 3. Bolingbroke has risen against Richard. His numbers are growing. And Richard, returning to England, learns that the rebellion may cost him his throne. Of comfort no man seek. Let's talk of graves, of worms and epitaph. Make dust our paper,
and with rainy eyes write sorrow on the bosom of the earth. Let's choose executors and talk of wills, and yet not so, for what can we bequeath save our deposed bodies to the ground? Our lands, our lives, and all are Bolingbroke's, and nothing can we call our own but death, and that small model of the barren earth, which serves as paste and cover to our bones. For God's sake, let us sit upon the ground and tell sad stories of the death of kings, how some have been deposed, some slain in war, some haunted by the ghosts they have deposed, some poisoned by their wives, some sleeping killed, all murdered. For within the hollow crown that rounds the mortal temples of a king keeps death his court. And there the antic sits, scoffing his state and grinning at his pomp, allowing him a breath, a little scene to monetize, be feared, and kill with looks, infusing him with self and vain conceit, as if this flesh which walls about our life were brass impregnable, and humored thus comes at the last, and with a little pin bores through his castle wall. And farewell, King.
My liege, one word.
He does me double wrong that wounds me with the flatteries of his tongue. Discharge my followers, let them hence away from Richard's night to Bolingbroke's fair day. What must the king do now? Must he submit? The king shall do it. Must he be deposed? The king shall be contented. Must he lose the name of king? For God's name, let it go. I'll give my jewels for a set of beads, my gorgeous palace for a hermitage, my gay apparel for an almsman's gown, my figured goblets for a dish of wood, my scepter for a palmer's walking staff, my subjects for a pair of carved saints, and my large kingdom for a little grave. A little grave. An obscure grave. Or I'll be buried in the king's highway, some way of common trade where subjects' feet may hourly trample on their sovereign's head, for on my heart they tread whilst now I live, and buried once, why not upon my head? O Merle, thou weepst, my tender-hearted cousin. We'll make foul weather with despised tears. Our sighs and they shall lodge the summer corn and make a dearth in this revolting land. Or shall we play the wantons with our woes and make some pretty match with shedding tears? As thus, to drop them still upon one place till they have fretted us a pair of graves within the earth, and therein laid their lives, two kinsmen dig their graves with weeping eyes. Would not this ill do well? Well, I see. I talk but idly, and you laugh at me. Most mighty prince, my lord Northumberland, what says King Bolingbroke? Will His Majesty give Richard leave to live till Richard die? You make a leg. And Bolingbroke says aye.
My lord, in the base court he doth attend to speak with you. May it please you to come down.
Down I come, like glistering Phaeton, wanting the manage of unruly jades. In the base court where kings grow base, to come at traitors' calls and do them grace. In the base court, come down! Down court! Down king! For night owl shriek where mounting lark should sing.
Listen in again next Wednesday night, and the makers of Mobile Oil and Mobile Gas again bring you Orson Welles. Susan Hayward appeared through the courtesy of Paramount Pictures, producers of I Love a Soldier. Kay Thompson appeared through the courtesy of Metro-Goldwyn Mayer, producers of the Technicolor musical Bathing Beauty. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Autolite and its 96,000 dealers present Suspense. Tonight, Autolite brings you a story of treachery and greed. A story we call Murder in G-Flat, starring Mr. Jack Benny.
Greetings, Pepito, my favorite free holy friar. What's on the menu?
The special, Senor Wilcox, is Autolite Stay Full Battery.
You mean you're serving the battery that needs water only 3 times a year in normal car use?
See. What is better for quick, dependable starts, huh?
Ah, nothing's better than an Autolite Stay Full, that frisky friend of car owners from coast to coast. But
you don't want one, Senor?
Everybody wants an Autolite Stay Full. The buxom battery with fiberglass retaining mats protecting every positive plate to prevent shedding and flaking, and to keep the Autolite Stay Full battery power-packed for paramount performance.
See, how you want it, Senor?
Why, it's perfect just as it is, Pepito, and built to give longer life, as proved by tests conducted according to accepted life cycle standards. So, friends, have your neighborhood Autolite battery dealer serve your car an Autolite Stay Full battery. The battery that needs water only 3 times a year in normal car use.
See. And remember,
you're always right with Autolite.
And now, with Murder in G-Flat and the transcribed performance of Mr. Jack Benny, Autolite hopes once again to keep you in suspense.
Lieutenant, in here, sir, in the rec hall.
What's he doing in the rec hall?
Well, he thought he'd tune the piano while I was waiting, Lieutenant.
Sunday night. Why couldn't you guys pick a better night than Sunday night? My one day off, and I have to come down here.
Sorry we had to call you, Joe.
This the guy, huh?
Yeah. Hey, you.
That's it. C-flat. If I had my wrench...
This is the lieutenant.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lieutenant.
Name?
My name is Remington. Hercules Remington.
That's it, Joe. We checked.
Pardon me, Lieutenant, but my wife, Martha, is going to be awfully worried. You see, I haven't seen her since this morning. They told me...
You haven't seen your wife since this morning?
No, and I thought that if I could phone her and at least tell her where I am...
Where'd you pick him up?
Coney Island, Joe. He called us from there.
Yes, and I should have called my wife, too. Look, Lieutenant, I don't want to seem persistent about this.
You'll have plenty of time later to call your wife. Now, give the lieutenant the story in detail, just like you told it to me on the way down here to the station.
What kind of work do you do, Remington?
Well, I'm a piano tuner, Lieutenant. Yours is out of tune. C-flat, Lieutenant. See, if I could get my bag, I'd tune...
Look, Remington, I haven't got all night. Now, either get on with your story or I'll have...
All right, Lieutenant. But I really would like to call my wife first.
Start your story.
All right. But if there's any explaining to be done to my wife, you guys will have to do it.
We'll be happy to. Now, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Well, Lieutenant, This whole mess started yesterday morning, Saturday. I got up, had breakfast with my wife, Martha, and my Uncle Herman. He's my black sheep uncle of the family. He's a carnival man, came to work at the World's Fair here, and has been living with us ever since. I think he ought to pay at least 1/3 of the rent, but Martha, well, she feels sorry for him. Anyway, I left the house around 10 o'clock on my way to the Lippin Ridge School of Music. I usually tune their pianos on the first Saturday of the month. You see, because there aren't any classes there on that Saturday. I catch the BMT at 57th and get off at Union Square. Well, yesterday morning I got on the subway, just like I always do. I carry a little ordinary brown bag with all my tools in it and usually lay it right next to me under the seat. I was just sitting there, thinking hard, wondering how I was going to meet the bills at the end of the month, when a man sat down next to me. He shoved something under the seat and just sat there staring ahead. B flat, D flat, B flat, D flat, B flat, D flat.
I beg your pardon.
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I got carried away for a moment. 4 stops later, the man got up, reached under the seat, pulled out a little brown bag, and started for the door. I remember noticing he was bald-headed and wearing big black horn-rimmed glasses. For a minute, I thought he'd stolen my bag of tools, but I reached my hand under the seat and found my bag was still there. I remember sort of chuckling to myself, thinking of the coincidence that he'd been carrying the same type of bag. Well, anyway, I got off at Union Square and walked up to the Lippin Ridge School of Music on 14. There are 4 floors there, a piano on each floor. And I usually start at the top and work my way down. Well, since the school doesn't have any classes on Saturday, the place was deserted. That one's sour. Yeah, D flat. Well, I'll soon have that in shape. What the... I zipped open my bag to take out my tuning hammer and my wedges, but there were no tools in my bag. The tools were gone, and in their place were bundles and bundles of crisp $10 bills. And then it hit me. The little bald-headed man on the subway. The man who sat down next to me. This bag belonged to him. He picked up mine by mistake. There was no name on the bag, no identification of any kind. I started counting one of the bundles. Each bundle contained $1,000 in $10 bills, and there were 25 bundles. I had just come heir to $25,000. When I got home, Martha was washing some clothes out on the back porch, and Uncle Herman was rolling pennies for his pitch penny concession. I called both of them into the living room, pulled all the shades down, closed and locked all the doors, and set the bag on the table.
Hercules, what are you doing back home so soon?
What kind of nonsense is this, nephew?
Martha, Uncle Herman.
You look awful pale.
I guess I do.
Hercules, what's the matter with you?
Listen to me, both of you. I'm rich.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, Hercules, at your age.
I'm not lying to you.
Look, I gotta get out.
You must be sick.
Look, will both of you be quiet for just a minute?
Sounds like he's drunk.
Are you sick, Hercules?
Look, I'm not sick and I'm not drunk. I've got it right here.
You've got what?
Look. Wow.
Hercules.
Now do you believe me? Now do you believe I'm not sick or drunk? Look at it. $25,000.
$25,000? That's a lot of money.
Hercules, where'd you get all this money?
I found it.
Found it?
Found it?
Yes.
Listen to me, Hercules Remington. Don't you lie to me. Where'd you get all that money?
I told you, Martha. I found it.
I haven't lived with you for 10 years for nothing. I know when you're lying to me. Now tell me, where'd you get all this money?
Okay, if I tell you the truth, I know you won't believe
Well, tell me anyway.
Well, all right. Look, this morning I got on the subway, just like I always do. And some little bald-headed man with black horn-rimmed glasses sat down next to me. When he got up to get off the subway, I noticed he was carrying a brown bag, just like mine. At first, I thought it was mine. But mine was still under the seat. Anyway, when I got to the music school, I opened my bag, and all this money was in it.
Sounds fantastic.
Hercules.
But it's the truth. The little man picked up my bag by mistake. I searched this one for some identification, but there isn't any.
Then you mean the little bald-headed man has your bag with the tools in it?
I guess he does.
It seems odd that anyone would be carrying this much money around in a little brown bag.
Odd or not, the fact still remains that I didn't steal it.
Well, I guess there isn't any way that you can get a hold of this man, so we'll just have to turn the money over to the police.
The police?
Yes, I said the police.
But why?
Why? Good heavens, Hercules, you don't expect to keep this money.
Why not?
It isn't ours.
Why? Why isn't it ours? I found it. I didn't steal it, Martha.
Hercules.
Martha, don't you see? Maybe this is fate. Maybe we were meant to have this money. Maybe if
You're crazy. You're out of your head. You're talking like a madman, and I won't have it.
But, Martha...
You didn't come by this money honestly. It isn't legally yours.
Now, wait a minute, Martha. Maybe Hercules is
Now, you stay out of this, Uncle Herman. Hercules, you're going to take this money to the police.
No. No, I'm not. I'm not going to take this to the police or anyone else. Do you understand me? I'm not going to take this money to the police.
Hercules, I don't understand you at all. But mark my word, you'll pay for this.
Well,
don't pay no attention to her, nephew.
But why does she have to be that way? Why can't she understand me just this once? Why can't she see my side of it? See, I didn't steal this money.
Oh, you didn't, nephew.
And I'm going to keep it.
Sure you are, nephew. Sure you are. You're going to keep it.
You bet I am. The next morning, that was this morning, Sunday, Martha wouldn't speak to me at all. Her eyes were all red and puffed up. I could see that she'd been crying. And Uncle Herman wasn't doing much talking either. Martha just kept sniffling as she puttered around the stove. Martha, my peach isn't peeled.
Peel it yourself.
But
Here, I'll peel it for you, nephew.
Thanks, Uncle Herman. Martha, please, won't you try...
Don't you talk to me.
No, don't be too hard on him, Martha. After all, a man's got a right.
I told you once, Uncle Herman, you stay out of this. It's none of your business.
Sorry. She's plenty mad. Well, ain't you going to answer the phone?
Hello?
Mr. Remington?
Yes?
Hercules Remington?
Yes, who is this, please?
I want to return your bag of piano tools to you, Mr. Remington. I believe there was a slight mix-up. I believe in my haste I picked up your bag instead.
But how did you find me? I mean...
Oh, it was quite simple. There's only one piano tuner with the initials HR in New York City.
Well, what do you know?
You do want your piano tools back, don't you, Mr. Remington?
Listen to me.
I don't think you'd like the idea of not being able to tune any more pianos.
What?
And I'd like to have my bag returned.
Of course.
As soon as possible.
Yes.
Tonight.
Tonight?
At 9:30 tonight. Meet me at Madison Square Garden.
Madison Square Garden?
At 9:30 at the 49th Street entrance. The door on the far end will be left slightly open. And please be prompt, Mr. Remington, with my brown bag. You see, it will displease my business partner considerably if he finds I've lost the bag.
All right. The 49th Street entrance, the door on the far end.
Hercules, what's wrong? Well, you're as white as a ghost.
I am?
You sure are.
I guess I should be. That was the little bald-headed man with horn-rimmed glasses, Uncle Herman. I've just lost $25,000. Uncle Herman went in the living room to read the Sunday paper, and I went in the bedroom to tell Martha about the phone call. But she wasn't there. In fact, she wasn't anywhere in the house. She was gone, and I figured that she'd probably gone over to her sister's house. I was so nervous the rest of the afternoon I couldn't eat a thing. I left the house for Madison Square Garden about 9 o'clock. From riches to rags in about 24 hours. And I was back riding the subway. I walked up 8th Avenue to the garden. I turned and walked up 49th Street to the entrance and stopped. Sure enough, one of the doors on the far end was open a little, just as the little man had told me it would be. I slipped in through the open door. It was pitch black. I couldn't see a thing. Hello? Hello? Anybody here? Hello? Is there anyone here? What the? I stumbled over something and almost fell. I struck a match and looked down at a body. The body of the little man in horn-rimmed glasses. His head was all covered with blood. I started to blow out the match, and then something caught my eye. Lying next to his body was my brown bag with the initials HR. And next to the bag, covered with blood, was my tuning hammer.
Autolite is bringing you Mr. Jack Benny in Murder in G-Flat. Tonight's production in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Senor Wilcox, why does the Autolite Stay Full battery need water like Pepito needs a hole in the head?
Well, Pepito, the Autolite Stay Full needs water only 3 times a year in normal car use because that consistently conserving and constantly cooperating battery has over 3 times the liquid protection of batteries without Stay Full features.
And why is the Autolite Stay Full strong as a bull, senor?
Because of the fiberglass retaining mats protecting every positive plate. They prevent shedding and flaking and keep the power-producing materials in place.
Greater convenience and dependable starting, yes, senor?
Right, Pepito. And in addition, the Autolite Stay Full battery gives you longer life, as proved by tests conducted according to accepted life cycle standards.
And all these make the Stay Full welcome a siesta after fiesta. Eh, senor?
Right you are. So, friends, visit your neighborhood Autolite battery dealer for an Autolite Stay Full. The battery that needs water only 3 times a year in normal car use. Your Autolite battery man is fully equipped to give you the best in battery advice and service because...
Because you are always right with Autolite.
And now Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage Mr. Jack Benny in Elliot Lewis's production of Murder in G-Flat. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Please, Lieutenant, may I call my wife? I want
Finish
to...
your story first, Mr. Remington. You can call her after that.
Oh, all right.
Now, you were standing over the body of this man in Madison Square Garden. You found your tuning hammer next to the body.
Yes, my tuning hammer. Let me tell you, Lieutenant, I was scared. Plenty scared. There I was standing over a dead man in Madison Square Garden. And clutched in my hand was his brown bag containing $25,000. Who would kill me? Who would... But I couldn't stop to think about that now. I had to get out of there and fast and take my bag and hammer lying on the floor with me. I started to reach for my bag when a sound, G-flat. Someone had opened up a knife. Whoever it was coming toward me, I blew out the match and waited. Who was in that corridor with me? Was it the business partner of the little man? Was it... I started to move backwards, and then a big black figure loomed up at me. With all my strength, I brought the brown bag swinging up from the floor. I ran until I thought my legs would drop. My mind was all fogged up now. I couldn't think straight. Who was the guy who just tried to kill me? One thing I knew for sure, I had to get rid of this money until I could think things out. But where? Where could I get rid of it? I neared the corner of 59th and 8th Avenue and then saw it. A bus terminal. Why not? A public locker in the bus station. I opened the door and walked in.
Scranton, Pittsburgh, and Philadelphia leaving in 10 minutes?
Yes, ma'am, in about 20 minutes.
Excuse me, mister. I'd like to have a key for a locker.
Just a second.
G sharp.
What'd you say?
Oh, nothing.
What do you know? I haven't got an empty one right now. Have to wait a little while.
You mean out of all of these hundreds of lockers, you haven't got one empty?
Oh, I'm sorry, mister, but you can see for yourself. A lot of servicemen in town over the weekend.
Well, how long will it be?
10, 15 minutes, maybe a couple hours.
Okay, I'll wait. I'll sit over there. I bought a paper at the newsstand and sat down on one of the benches. I didn't even know what I was reading. I just kept... And then I saw it. On page 2, a complete account of a robbery that had occurred on Friday night at one of the downtown post offices. 2 bandits had escaped with $25,000 in $10 bills. This was it. It must have been. But would the police believe a story like that? Of course they wouldn't. I had the money, and it was my tuning hammer there, lying next to the body in the garden. I got out of that bus terminal in a hurry and walked up 8th Avenue. Where could I go? The only place I could think of was Coney Island. Coney Island and Uncle Herman and his pitch penny concession. It was late, and the island amusement park was almost deserted. It was cold and close to 11. Uncle Herman was leaning against the side of his concession as I walked up.
Why, nephew, what are you doing out this way?
Uncle Herman, quick, let's go in back.
All right. There ain't no customers anyway. Yeah. Now, what happened, Hercules? Did you give the money back to the man?
I went to meet him at the garden, just like he told me. But when I got there and I found him, he was dead.
Dead?
He'd been beat over the head with my tuning hammer.
Why, Hercules.
I was just about to grab my hammer and bag and get out of there when someone made a lunge at me in the dark. But I got away. I went to a bus terminal to put the money in a locker. I had to wait. And then I read that the money is stolen post office money.
Oh, you got yourself in a mess, nephew.
I'm frantic. I don't know what to do. That's why I came here.
Well, I'm glad you did, nephew. Glad you did.
But what am I going to do?
Well, best thing would be to go back and get that hammer and bag. Leave the money here. I'll hide it for you.
But maybe I ought to go to the police.
You can't go to the police with that story. They'd never believe you, Hercules.
I know.
Bring your bag and come with me, nephew. I got a hiding place for that money that no one will ever find.
Uncle Herman locked his place up, and then he led me over to the fun house. It was closed now, and the place was all dark. But Uncle Herman had a key. He led me up some stairs to a high ramp that people climb on, to slide down the big chute. He stopped at one of them.
Here, nephew. Right under this top chute, we'll just pry one of the boards loose a little and slip the bag with the money underneath. No one in the world will ever look for it. There we are. Now, give me the bag, nephew.
Here you are, Uncle Herman. Are you sure that no one will find it here?
Absolutely, nephew. You and I are the only ones who know where it is. There's nothing to be afraid of. Now, hand me the bag.
Here you are.
That's it. Now, let's just check to make sure that...
What's the matter, Uncle Herman?
Where's the money, nephew?
The money? What are you talking about? It's in the...
Is this what you call money? Why, this bag's got nothing in it but bundles of torn newspaper.
I don't understand.
Hercules, dear nephew, what did you do with the money?
I don't know. It was in there. You saw it yourself when I brought it home.
This a scheme of yours, Hercules?
Scheme?
Trying to cheat on your dear old uncle, aren't you, Hercules?
Uncle Herman, what are you talking about?
Where's the money, Hercules?
G-flat. That knife. G-flat.
This ain't no time to play games with your Uncle Herman, Hercules.
Uncle Herman, where were you tonight?
What's that, Hercules?
G-flat. Your knife. It's G-flat.
Looks like this thing has got you going, Hercules.
It was you in the garden, wasn't it, Uncle Herman? You killed him.
Let's not waste any more time, nephew. Now tell me where that money is.
I don't know.
Stop lying to your dear uncle, Hercules.
I'm not lying.
I usually use this knife to scale fish. The smell of fish is stronger than the smell of blood.
But I tell you, I don't know where that money is.
You're lying to me. You came down here just to throw me off, didn't you? Make me think you lost the money.
Uncle Herman, stay away from me.
All right, Hercules. So you won't tell your dear uncle.
He rushed at me with the knife. I stepped back, tripped over the board he had pried loose, and fell down. But Uncle Herman... He went hurtling over me, head over heels down the long slide. When I got back down at the bottom of the slide chute, he was dead.
The uncle had his neck broken, Lieutenant.
What about the money?
Well, Mr. Remington's wife turned it over to the authorities this morning about 11 o'clock. She said the money wasn't his, and she didn't want him carrying it around.
Well, I guess that'll be all, Mr. Remington. You can go now.
But isn't it dangerous? I mean, the partner is still...
We picked up his business partner a few hours after the robbery.
Oh.
But just in case you happen to come across another $25,000 that doesn't belong to you, promise me that you'll get in touch with the authorities, will you, Mr. Remington?
Oh, I've learned my lesson, Lieutenant. Believe you me, I have.
Yeah, good.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, I almost forgot. I got to call my wife. She's probably frantic by now.
There's a payphone right outside in the corridor.
Payphone?
Yeah, right around the corner. You can't miss it.
Well, if she's waited this long, I think I'll just tell her when I get home.
Suspense. Presented by Autolite. Tonight's star, Mr. Jack Benny.
Fine meal, Pepito. So long.
Hey, no dessert, Senor Wilcox?
I never desert, Pepito. I'm always faithful to those 400 fine products for cars, trucks, tractors, planes, and boats made by Autolite in 28 plants from coast to coast. These include complete ignition systems used as original factory equipment on many leading makes of our finest cars. Generators, coils, distributors, electric windshield wipers, voltage regulators, wire and cable, starting motors, and many more. And they're all engineered to fit together perfectly, work together perfectly, because they're all part of the Autolite team. So, friends, don't accept electrical parts supposed to be as good. Ask for and insist on Autolite original factory parts at your neighborhood service station, car dealer, garage, or repair shop. Remember, you're always right with Autolite.
Next week on Suspense, our stars will be Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz in Early to Death. And in weeks to come, you will hear such famous stars as James Stewart, Ann Baxter, and Rosalind Russell, all on Suspense.
Suspense is produced and directed by Elliot Lewis, with music composed by Lucien Morawek and conducted by Lud Gluskin. Murder in G-Flat was written for Suspense by Richard George Pedicini. Portions of this program were transcribed. In tonight's cast, Joseph Kearns was heard as Uncle Herman, Bea Benaderet as Martha, and Larry Thor as the lieutenant. Others in the cast were Clayton Post, Jack Crucian, and Paul Frees. Jack Benny may be heard each Sunday on CBS on his own radio program, The Jack Benny Show.
And remember, next week on Suspense, Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz in a story about a mysterious airplane crash in the mountains of Mexico. A tale we call Early to Death.
You can buy Autolite Stay Full batteries, Autolite resistor type or standard type spark plugs, Autolite electrical parts at your neighborhood Autolite dealers. Switch to Autolite. Good night.
Tonight, Autolite salutes the men and women leaders in boys' clubs all over America. This is National Boys Club Week, a time to remember that our boys' clubs serve the boy, the community, and the nation by training tomorrow's leaders today. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight Lady Esther presents the Screen Guild players in the 20th Century Fox picture, Irish Eyes Are Smiling, a charming and nostalgic musical romance that stars Dick Haymes as Ernest Ball and June Haver as Irish. The Lady Esther Screen Guild players in Irish Eyes Are Smiling.
With someone like you, a pal couldn't do. I'd like to leave it all behind and go and find some place.
Ah, yes. Yes, that music takes me back a long way. A long way. To the days I'm afraid we've almost forgotten. And still I could never really forget that girl. Mary O'Neill, the girl we called Irish. And that boy, Ernest Ball, whose great Irish heart gave us all those wonderful ballads the world has been humming ever since. Of course, at this point, you may be wondering who I am. Very well. I'm Edgar Brawley, and I flatter myself that in the early days of the century, no further explanation would have been needed. There was a time I struck gold upon the Mackenzie, and the time that Wall Street wiped me out. That was the year before I won a fortune on the Derby, and a certain very blonde young lady sued me for... But that's another story, isn't it? At the moment, we're concerned with our two young sweethearts. Of course, I wasn't there when they met, but they've described the scene to me so very often, I feel fully qualified to tell it to you. The city was Cleveland, and of all places, backstage at a famous burlesque theater. Mary O'Neill was in the chorus, or rather, she should have been. At that particular moment, she was play-acting in the star's dressing room, tugged out in the star's most ravishing costume, pretending she was Belle de Tour herself. And as fate would have it, at exactly that moment...
Yes? Come in.
I beg your pardon. Miss Latour?
Who?
Oh, I'm Ernest Ball, and before I say a word about my song, I want to thank you for answering my note.
Your note?
Oh, you know, the...
Oh, yes, your note. Oh, well, don't mention it. It was nothing.
Oh, it was everything. You see, I so seldom get encouragement that when I do, well, you've made me very happy, Miss Latour, and I thank you.
Well, you're very welcome, I'm sure. You said your name was Brill?
Ball. Ernest Ball.
Well, I'm glad to have met you, Mr. Ball.
Well, pleasure's been all mine.
Come in again sometime.
Thank you. I'd like to.
Good night.
Good night. Good night? Good gosh, the song.
The what?
Well, I almost forgot what I came for. Here, I can show you better at the piano. Now, the way I see it, Miss Latour, you're standing on a bridge. Moonlight behind you. On the water, I mean. Understand?
Not quite, but keep on talking.
Well, first we see the whole thing through gauze, like a dream. And then as the music comes in, you start to sing.
Oh, you're a song plugger.
Oh, no. This is my own. It goes like this. Sure, I love the dear silver that shines in your hair, and the brow that's all furrowed and wrinkled with care. I kiss the dear fingers so toil-worn for me. Oh, God bless you and keep you
Mother McCree. There's a spot in my heart which no calling may own. There's a depth in my soul never sounded or known. There's a place in my memory, my life that you fill. No other can take it. No one ever will. Sure, I love the dear silver that shines in your hair, and the brow that's all furrowed and wrinkled with care. I kiss the dear fingers so toil-worn for me. Oh, God bless you and keep you, Mother McCree.
That was simply wonderful.
Oh, do you really think so, Miss Latour?
Think so? Why, never in all my professional life.
In mine either.
Oh!
That's a big idea, wearing my costume.
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Latour. I was just trying it on.
Miss Latour?
Well, who do I look like? Carrie Nation?
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Latour. I'm Ernest Ball. I mistook this young lady for you. And...
Young lady? What am I, an old hag?
Oh, Miss Latour, it's all my fault. If you'll just listen to her song.
Who asked you? You stay out of this.
I can't stay out of it. I'm in it.
Don't you talk to me like that.
I'll talk the way I want.
Why, you fresh little brat, I'll...
Oh, no, you won't.
Oh, glory be, Miss. What a left.
Shall we go, Mr. Ball? I've just been fired.
Yes, that's how he met her. Mary O'Neill, whose nickname was Irish. And by the time he'd walked her home, the boy was in love, as they stood there on the steps of her boarding house.
What's so funny?
Oh, I can still see Latour hitting the floor. You've got a pretty good left.
You see, Pop taught me that before he died. He said a girl had to be good to be good.
You know, I don't mean to be fresh, but you know your eyes sparkle when you laugh?
And when I'm mad?
Well, they sort of flash. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to write a song about you. It'll be just our song. I'll never play it for anyone else, just us. Maybe it'll go something like this. When Irish eyes are smiling. Da-da-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. What's the matter? Don't you like it?
Look, Ernest, I don't want to give you any false hopes. Tomorrow I'm leaving for New York.
New York? What for?
To find a job.
Can't you get one here?
In a burlesque show? No, thanks. I want to try for something better. As Pop used to say, I'm going to make a pie or spoil a pumpkin. So, goodbye.
Goodbye? Oh, you can't say goodbye. Look, I'll sell a song pretty soon. I'll make some money. We'll go to New York together.
I'm sorry, Ernest.
Oh, no, you can't go. I won't let you
Ernie,
go.
Please, you're hurting my arm.
Well, I don't care. You can't walk out of my life just like that. We just found each other.
Ernie, I'm warning you.
Go ahead, use your left. What do I care? What do I... Hey, you did.
I'm sorry, Ernie. Goodbye.
Irish, come out. Open up, darling. Will you please come out?
What's going on here anyway?
Oh, nothing, officer, nothing.
What's the idea? You looking for trouble?
No, thanks. I've got plenty already.
Poor Ernie. His troubles were just beginning. Working his way to New York was one thing. Finding Irish was another. And no one in the big city would even listen to his music, so finally he had to take a job. Plugging songs for Leo Betts, which, as a matter of record, is how I met him. I was dining at Reisenheimer's that night with Lucille Lacey, the musical comedy star, and Al Jackson, the famous gambler. I remember we were talking and laughing, paying no attention to the boy who was singing until...
Hey, that song is awful. Who's the kid singing?
There's his card, Al. The waiter just brought it over.
Mr. Ernest Ball, representing Leo Betts, musical publisher. that one of Leo's new songs?
Apparently.
Horrible, isn't it? What's Leo got against us?
I don't know. I don't recall ever doing him a favor.
Uh-oh. I guess that kid don't approve of us. I can hardly blame him.
Oh, wait a minute. He's going to make a speech.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know you didn't like that song. I don't like it either.
Well, my goodness.
I'm going to sing you another one. A song I wrote myself.
This ought to be very good.
I hope you like it because, well, you just got to like it.
There's a tear in your eye, and I'm wondering why, for it never should be there at all. With such power in your smile, sure a stone you'd beguile. So there's never a teardrop should fall. When your sweet lilting laughter's like some fairy song, and your eyes twinkle bright as can be, you should laugh all the while, and all other times smile. And now smile a smile for me. When Irish eyes are smiling, sure it's like a morning spring. In the lilt of Irish laughter, you can hear the angels sing. When Irish hearts are happy, all the world seems bright and gay. And when Irish eyes are smiling, sure they steal your heart away.
Incredible, isn't it? A broken down phone plugger like that.
Broken down my eye. Edgar, I'll bet you $100 that kid's got $5,000 under his name right now.
$5,000? That kid? You've made a wager, my boy. Now prove it.
Sure. Isn't this his card on the table here?
Well,
there's his name and $5,000 under it. Want to count?
Oh, you slipped the $5,000 under his card. Very crude. Very crude.
Sure, schoolboy stuff.
Yeah, reform school.
You know, Al, you should have waited 6 months. You might have won that bet legitimately.
Legitimately? Him?
Edgar, in 6 months, that boy will have more than $5,000, much more.
What do you mean?
That's the loveliest song I've heard in years. And if you'll let me, I'll use it at the palace next week.
The palace?
Yes. Now close your mouth and open your ears. I believe he's going to do an encore.
When Irish eyes are smiling, sure it's like a morning spring. In the lilt of Irish laughter, you can hear the angels sing. When Irish hearts are happy, all the world seems bright and gay. And when Irish eyes are smiling, sure they steal your heart away.
The second act of the Lady Esther Screen Guild play will follow in just a moment. Now, a word from Lady Esther.
Often the loveliness you admire in other charming women is not a gift of nature, but the result of clever beauty habits practiced faithfully day after day. For example, do you want a smooth, young-looking skin? Skin with that look of fastidious grooming, that fresh, well-cared-for look that is always so admired. Then let me suggest you change your daily beauty routine. Simplify it. Adopt the beauty habit of millions of lovely women. The habit of one cream, Lady Esther 4-Purpose Face Cream, to take care of all the 4 most important needs of your skin. Now, I have a little test, the patch test, which shows you exactly how beautifying Lady Esther Face Cream is. You don't have to wait 30 days or even 30 minutes to see results. The patch test shows you results in 30 seconds. To make this test, just smooth Lady Esther 4-Purpose Face Cream on one patch of skin, like one cheek. Wipe it off. Then compare that cheek with the other. See the clean look of it. The radiant, satiny finish. Touch it with your fingers, and you even feel the difference. You see, Lady Esther Face Cream does all this. It thoroughly cleans your skin, softens your skin, helps nature refine the pores, and also leaves a perfect base for powder. So decide right now to make the Lady Esther patch test. The convincing proof you see in your mirror in 30 seconds will give you the Lady Esther habit for life.
And now the second act of Irish Eyes Are Smiling, starring June Haver and Dick Haymes.
When Irish eyes are smiling, sure it's like a morning spring.
Well, that was how the lad got his start. Lucille introduced his song at the Palace, and the rest is a matter of history. Within a few months, all New York was singing Ernest Ball's tune, East Side.
I'm at a love of the silver shining at a hey.
West Side. All around the town. Yes, his songs bringing happiness to everyone but himself. For try as he would, he could not find Irish. That is, not until that night at Churchill's. We were dining together again, Lucille, Al Jackson, and I, and Ernest had promised to meet us there. But as he came in the door...
Young lady, will you check my coat? Irish.
Good evening, sir.
Irish, what's the matter? Don't you remember me? Miss Latour, Cleveland? Irish, please don't act like that. Talk to me.
I'm the hat check girl here. I'm not allowed to talk to the customers.
Oh, but I've been looking for you everywhere. The newspapers, theatrical agencies, even the police.
You have?
Well, why do you think I came to New York? Irish, why didn't you let me know where you were?
I didn't know you were here. And then, well, I couldn't after you were famous.
Look, we've got to talk. Let's get out of here. Let's go someplace.
Oh, but I couldn't walk out on Mr. Churchill, not on a minute's notice like that.
All right. Well, we'll give him an hour. I'll go in and join my friends, and I'll pick you up here in an hour. All right?
All right.
Now, haven't you forgotten something?
What?
Something I've been dreaming of all these months? Gosh, Irish.
Oh, Ernie.
Young lady, may I have my hat? I beg your pardon. Excuse me for intruding, but, oh, well, it's warm out. I'll get my hat tomorrow.
Yes, they might have lived happily ever after. But that was the night I made my bet with Al. He'd tricked me on so many other bets, I made up my mind to beat him this once. I led up to the subject very casually, and at last he bit.
Are you trying to say that's all it takes to make a star? Luck?
Luck and the proper handling. Why, I could take any woman in this room and make her a star within 3 months.
Edgar, you're balmy.
Think so? How much?
Oh, make it easy on yourself. You never won a bet from me yet.
Then I'll tell you what. I'll give you a break. I won't pick any woman in this room, but I'll bet you I can make a star out of the next woman that comes out of the ladies' lounge, okay?
For how much?
Say 25,000?
25,000. You got a bet.
25,000? That was a lot of money. You understand, I couldn't afford to take a chance, so I had myself a little talk with Lucille.
Oh, I understand, Edgar. I'm to be in the ladies' lounge, and when you whistle, I'm to come out. You're sure it's a joke.
A very big joke on Al.
Yes, and Mr. Jackson, I got it straight. I'll stay in there in the ladies' lounge sort of scrubbing around, and when you're all whistled, I'll come out. Right.
With one slight correction, Ruby. You don't come out, you rush out. And be sure you're first.
Don't ask questions, Irish. I haven't time to explain. You just be in the ladies' lounge, and when I whistle, you come running, see?
I don't see, Ernie, but I'll do it for you.
And so I whistled. In fact, we all whistled. And the door of the ladies' lounge burst open, and the girl came hurtling through on her face.
Irish, you made it. Here, let me help you up.
Oh, say, I've battled to get into those places, but never to get out of one. What's going on?
Millions of women powdering their noses, and it had to be her. Who is this girl?
Yeah, I'd like to know, too.
Hey, what is this anyway?
It's nothing, young lady, just a little joke.
A joke? Well, where do you get off playing jokes on me? Why, for 2 cents...
Oh, now, wait a minute, Irish. Wait a minute. It's not Lucille's fault. I sent you in there.
Well, I don't like your sense of humor.
Please, it's only a bet.
First it's a joke, and now it's a bet. Look, if you think you can use me just
Miss
to...
O'Neill, what is this? You're talking to a guest.
I know who I'm talking to. Shut up.
Miss O'Neill. You're fired.
Fired nothing. I quit. And you can take your guests and keep them. Good night.
Irish. Oh, Irish, wait.
I was really in trouble now. I had 3 months to win my bet, to make that girl into a leading lady, and she disappeared. She moved from her boarding house that very night. I was frantic, of course, and Ernest was flaming.
I'm fed up, I tell you. Fed up with all of it. With New York, with Broadway, with bunco artists like you. I'm through. I'm getting out.
But, Ernest, I have $25,000 at stake, and if we find that girl, you've told me she can sing and dance, I'll still need your music to build a show.
All right, you can have my music. I've got a dozen songs. You can have them all. But don't ask me to stay. I'm getting out.
And so he disappeared, too. All I could hope for was to find the girl. Well, I did find her finally in a little cafe in New Jersey, singing for what amounted to her supper.
At your feet, you steppin' fool. Strut your stuff, use your curch. Trot your tootsies by the church. Cool your dogs, we're coming through. Get set for Lennox as a new. Won't you strut, Miss Lizzie? Get busy, I want to see you walk. For the folks all state, the way you syncopate is the whole town talk. When you move so pretty, it's a pity the other girlies frown. But the man you meet like the way you shake your feet. Oh, you're not gone busy, strut Miss Lizzie Brown. You got the cutest strut in town.
The girl was good. There was no question of that. So I went to her dressing room, did some fast talking, explained the situation, and offered her a contract to which she had only one reply.
What about Ernest? Why didn't he come?
Ernest is taking a little vacation, my dear. He's gone out of town.
But he'll be back? Will he be back before we open?
Well, naturally. Oh, of course he'll be back, my dear. I hope.
All ready for the second act. Eddie, check those crowds. Joe, pass the clap. On stage, everybody. On stage.
Irish, you were wonderful. Now, just remember, in the second act...
Edgar, he didn't come.
My dear, we've got a hit on our hands. You'll be a star tomorrow morning.
Well, you said he'd be here.
Irish, don't you understand?
Possibly I can help to explain.
Ernest, you're back. There, you see, my dear? Edgar Brawley always delivers the mail. Well, I've got things to do, if you'll excuse me.
Hello.
Is that all you can say?
Oh, no. How have you been?
Fine, thanks. And you?
Pretty good.
That's nice.
I understand you didn't run away.
No, I changed my mind.
Oh, that's nice.
I I understand you went on a long vacation.
No, I changed my mind. Well, I guess that's all there is to say.
Yes. Except one little thing.
What's that?
Darling, I still have a pretty good left.
Hmm?
Unless you kiss me, one of us is going to get a black eye.
Irish.
Oh, Ernie, darling.
What's that? Oh, gosh, Irish, look, they've raised the curtain.
We're right on stage.
Well, what do we do? All those people out there.
Well, since you're here, why don't you sing? Well, you know the words and music. Go on and sing.
Oh, well, all right.
Go on.
With someone like you, a pal good and true, I'd like to leave it all behind and go and find
some place that's known to God, just a spot to call.
We'll find perfect peace where joys never cease. Out there beneath the kindly sky, we'll build a sweet little nest somewhere in the west and let the rest of the world go by. With someone like you,
Thank you, Dick Haymes and June Haver, for a delightful half hour.
Thank you, Mr. Bradley. The Motion Picture Relief Fund and its country house, both supported largely by this program, are doing such magnificent work that we consider it a privilege to appear here with the Lady Esther Screen Guild players. And now, before we tell you about next week's program, here's a word from one of America's best-known beauty authorities, Lady Esther.
Thank you, Miss Haver. Ladies, has anyone said to you recently, "You're looking very lovely lately, so much younger"? Now, of course, such compliments are nice to hear, and you can hear them frequently from now on, if you will accept a friendly challenge from me. Simply try Lady Esther Bridal Pink Face Powder and see for yourself the instant, exciting difference in your appearance. It doesn't matter whether your hair is blonde, brown, auburn, or black. My Lady Esther Bridal Pink is a new kind of powder shade, intensely flattering to almost every skin it touches, and flattering not to your skin alone, but also to your hair, your eyes, yes, even your features. So many women tell me that just changing to Lady Esther Bridal Pink has made their features look smaller and daintier. Lady Esther Face Powder is so finely textured, it completely covers up tiny lines and blemishes. No trace of powder particles can be seen, only the subtle, fascinating effect of a smooth, young skin. For a really exciting change in your appearance, try this. First apply Lady Esther face cream. Wipe it off. Then dip your puff. Pat Lady Esther Bridal Pink Face Powder gently on your face. How you'll love the way you look. Remember, Lady Esther Four-Purpose Face Cream. Lady Esther Bridal Pink Face Powder.
Next week, The Lady Esther Screen Guild Players will present Love is News. It will star James Gleason, Linda Darnell, and Bob Hope. Be sure to listen. June Haver can now be seen in the Technicolor picture The Dolly Sisters. Dick Haymes can soon be seen in Do You Love Me, both 20th Century Fox productions. Irish Eyes Are Smiling was presented through the courtesy of 20th Century Fox. Dick Haymes appeared through the courtesy of the Electric Auto Light Company and may be heard over this network on his own program every Saturday night. Music on tonight's program was conducted by Wilbur Hatch. This is Truman Bradley speaking for Lady Esther. Thank you and good night all. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The Columbia Broadcasting System presents The Free Company.
For what avail the plow or sail or land or life if freedom fail?
Ladies and gentlemen, today CBS is proud to contribute its facilities to a new and important development in radio history, the Free Company. The Free Company is a voluntary group of distinguished American playwrights, writers, actors, and radio workers who have joined their talents to bring you this series with no compensation other than the knowledge that it may serve America. With James Boyd as national chairman, Robert E. Sherwood, chairman of the Writers' Committee, and Burgess Meredith, chairman of the Actors Division, the Free Company will present original radio plays written by its members, Maxwell Anderson, Sherwood Anderson, Stephen Vincent Benet, James Boyd, George M. Cohan, Mark Conley, Noel Green, Archibald MacLeish, Orson Welles, Elmer Rice, William Saroyan, and Robert E. Sherwood, 9 of them Pulitzer Prize winners. The plays will feature America's most distinguished screen and stage stars in the leading roles. And now, Burgess Meredith for the Free Company.
This is Burgess Meredith speaking from Hollywood. The purpose of the Free Company is to present in terms as eloquent as its members can command the meaning of freedom and to serve as a free expression of their faith in American democracy and in the basic civil rights which make it possible. Some of these plays utilize for their dramatic themes particular sections of the Bill of Rights. Others, like today's drama, will be more general in scope. For our first play in this series, Pulitzer Prize playwright William Saroyan has written The People with Light Coming Out of Them. In the cast will be John Garfield, Nancy Kelly, Eduardo Cianelli, Edmund Gwenn, William Tracy, Tim Holt, and Clinton Rosamond. The brilliant work of these artists in motion pictures is known to all of you. When we asked William Saroyan to join the Free Company, Bill said,
Well, sure. I'm fond of freedom, crazy about company. What do I do?
Write us a play.
Okay, when?
Now?
Right now?
Right now.
Good. What do you want this play to be about?
About the United States of America.
My favorite subject.
About why you like America.
Why? You might as well ask me why I like to breathe. What do you really want?
Well, Bill, tell us something about why you think this country is worth living and fighting for. Give us your reasons in a little play. You have reasons.
Oh, millions of them. As many reasons as there are places and people. Take California, for instance, or Texas, or New York. Take San Francisco, or Peoria. Or take any place. Rockville Center, Freeport, Merrick, Belmore, Wantagh, Seaford, Massapequa, Amityville, Lindenhurst, and Babel.
Wait a minute. Can't you sort of break that down a little?
Sure. We'll make it local. Now, look, we'll take one city block, any place, one American row of houses. Okay, now, there it is. Now, we'll take one American. Anybody. Let's take something like myself so I'll know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, anybody. Instead of being a writer, let's say this fellow's a painter. He looks at things carefully and then paints what he sees in them. Okay, now, there's one street and there's this young painter. He's standing on the corner.
What corner?
This American corner. Mm-hmm. Now, give me a typewriter and I'll go to work.
Sure, here you are. Now, you sit right down.
Thanks. Come on, old Walt Whitman. Tell us about America. Tell us about where we live, about home and the family. And Mark Twain, you tell us about it. And old Dan Boone. And 130 million people. You tell us about it.
This is a good block. I'll tell you who lives in this block. Well, in the flat below me is the old husband and the wife and their granddaughter. The old man's retired. He used to be a railroad worker. They gave him a pension about 2 years ago. Yesterday I saw him at the corner, just kind of standing in the sun there, burned up about having no job. And he said,
"Oh, how does anybody know when a man's through? I'm not through, and I never have been. As long as a man wants to work, he's not through. So I'm keeping busy. Aye, they're not going to kill me with kindness. Do you know what I'm doing now, eh? Well, it's the truth. I've got a whole setup in the basement. Aye, last week I made a little table, and this week I'm working on a chair. I've got to keep going. I've got to do things. You can hear me hammering down there now, can't you?
Is that you hammering?
Yeah. How's it sound to you, eh? Young and vigorous?
It doesn't sound old.
I'll say it doesn't. There's plenty of people around here that can use a table or a chair or one thing or another. And I'm going to go ahead and make these things. And if they can't afford to pay for the lumber, I'll make them a present of it. I like to be making something. I don't like to sit around being an old man. Ever hear me sing while I'm working?
Yes, I believe I have.
Well, now, how does it sound? Hey, come on now, tell me the truth.
Not bad at all. What is that song you keep singing all the time?
Oh, it's Dolly Day.
Is that what it is?
Ah, you mean, oh, Dolly Day, she looks so gay. I run all around and around to hear her fairy footsteps play as she comes over the ground.
Yes.
Oh. Aye, it's my favourite, Dolly Day. It's my wee wifey's name, Dolly. Yeah. Well, so long, lad.
So long, Pop. I'll be seeing you. Well, the old man and his wife, they're folks. And the girl, their granddaughter, she's a stenographer somewhere. And she goes to work every morning looking like a princess. The old man, he's Scotch. And his wife's English, with a little French. And the granddaughter's mother, she has some Spanish. That's a lot of folks. Well, I was sitting on the steps last Sunday when the girl came home from church. I never saw anything prettier. She's something like her grandfather when it comes to starting a conversation anywhere at all. She came up the street and started talking from about 10 yards away.
Hello. You're the man who's taken the flat upstairs, aren't you? No, it seems funny not hearing a lot of noise up there anymore. There were 5 growing kids in the family that moved out just before you moved in, and, gee, they sure used to have a lot of fun. Gosh, it's a beautiful day, isn't it?
It sure is. One of the most beautiful I've ever seen. Too good to waste indoors.
That's one thing I like about church on a good day. When it's all over, you go out humming the last song they sang, and you step into beautiful sunshine and walk home feeling glad and hungry and happy about everything.
I've got to do that. I've got to go to a church next Sunday myself. What kind of sermon was it?
Oh, it was a little sad and made me feel angry about the war and the way people are behaving, but, well, we got to know about wars and what they mean to people and what they do. So the last song we sang was Rock of Ages.
Rock of Ages. I haven't heard that song in years.
Oh, it's a beautiful song. Rock of Ages, cleft for me. It's good for people to feel that something is solid for them to hang on to. People sing songs like that all over the world, I guess. What do you do?
Yes, that's exactly how she said it. She's an American. She wanted to know, so she asked. She was sincere, and she was interested. I told her. I'm a painter.
Oh, a house painter?
Well, I paint houses, too, among other things, but I don't mean that kind of painting. I paint on canvas.
You mean you're an artist?
Well, yes, although that sounds a little high-toned for me. I'm a worker whose work it is to paint. I've got no boss, and I don't keep regular hours or anything like that. But I work like everybody else.
Gosh, I never knew people could live so near artists.
Wait a minute, don't get me wrong. I'm not famous. In fact, I'm not very well known to more than 10 or 11 people in the whole world. I'm not rich either. I'm sort of poor, but it seems like everything I really want and need, I usually...
Well, how do people get to be painters?
Well, I suppose it creeps up on them gradually until they're so sure they're painters they're willing to work for years trying to prove it. I'm in my 7th year now.
Have you got a lot of paintings?
Lots of them. Dozens.
Could I see them sometime?
Well, I wish you would. But I've got to warn you, they're not nearly as pretty as some people in the world. Well, why don't you get your grandfather and grandmother and someday when I'm in town go upstairs and loaf around? Door's always open.
Oh, we wouldn't go into your house if you weren't there.
Well, why not? It would be easier for you to look at the paintings, and I wouldn't be there to bother you and trying to explain them to you. It's not easy for a painter to explain his pictures. You see, you start to paint things, and after a while, as you learn more and more about painting, you start to paint what's inside of things and always coming out. Light comes out of most things, especially people. And it sometimes comes out of houses and streets and rooms and windows and all sorts of things that everybody sees every day. Well, I sort of concentrate on that light. I'm interested in it, even when there's no sun shining. If you look carefully, you can see light coming out of all sorts of things. But it's not easy to explain.
Gosh, you sound like a preacher. Only it sounds real, not like a sermon.
Everybody's a preacher, yes, but simply a question what a man preaches.
Well, what do you preach?
Tell you the truth, I believe something that's so ordinary it's almost embarrassing to mention it. In fact, somebody sophisticated might laugh at me. I believe there's more good in things than anybody ever bothers to see. So I keep looking for it all the time. And when I find it, I try to keep it in a painting so other people can see it too. After they see it in a painting, well, they see it everywhere else too. That's what painting's for.
Say, can we really go up and look at the paintings?
Well, I'm going to take a walk to town in about an hour. Why don't you all go up after you've had dinner? I won't be back until evening.
Are you sure you won't mind?
Mind? I want you to see my pictures. That's why I paint them.
All right, then. We'll go up. And thanks.
Okay. Well, she walked off, and I went up to my room. You hear that? That's Michael Agawa. He lives across the street. He's 16. His father runs that cleaning and pressing place. Mike delivers for his father. I've been here only 2 weeks, and I know practically everybody in this block. Take Mike, for instance. He came upstairs one afternoon with one of my suits his father had cleaned and pressed. I was working at the time, and it looked as if it was going to be a good picture, so I didn't want to stop working. I hollered, "Come in." The door opened, and somebody said,
"I brought your suit."
Okay, bring it up and put it on a chair somewhere. I went right on working. I guess I must have worked at least 40 minutes more before I stopped. The picture wasn't finished, and I didn't feel like doing any more work for a while. Wait till morning and go back to it fresh. Well, I lit a cigarette, inhaled, and yawned, and stretched. Hello, who are you?
Mike.
Hiya, my name is Jim Smith.
Pleased to meet you.
How long have you been here?
Ever since I brought your suit.
Oh, I'm sorry. How much is it?
Oh, it's all paid for. You paid my father the day you brought it in. Don't you remember?
Then why?
I wanted to see you make the picture. I never saw a man paint a picture before. Can I look at it?
Sure. It's not finished, but you can take a look at what I've got so far.
Thanks. That sure is pretty.
Do you really mean that?
That second house, that's our house, isn't it?
But do you live in that house with the green roof?
Sure, right over the shop. We like Del Pa. It sure is pretty.
What's your last name, Mike?
Akagawa. I bet you know what nationality that is.
Well, since it's yours, I'd say it's American.
Oh, sure. But when it's my father's, it's Japanese, I guess. He was born in Japan. I was born in that house in the picture. Gee, I never thought I'd see that little house in the picture.
Listen, though, will you? Listen to Mike Akagawa across the street blowing the trumpet. Isn't that beautiful? That's what I like about this block. All the wonderful Americans living here, doing their work and raising their families, going to school, trying to learn how to play the trumpet and looking around everywhere for the good things. 3 doors from here is the Areola family. Father, mother, and 7 kids, all under 17. Well, they're a great gang of people. The father works in the wholesale produce market, so he gets up at 3 in the morning to go to work. You know, I sometimes walk around town late at night to see how things are then. And one night, as I was coming home, I ran into Pete Areola on his way to work. Well, it's very quiet at 3 in the morning, and you don't expect a stranger to come up to you and start to talk. But Pete did.
Hello.
Hello.
You are the new fellow in this neighborhood, ain't you?
Yes, I am. I've got that flat 3 doors up from your place.
Sure, I see you before. What's your name?
Jim Smith.
My name is Pete Areola.
That's a good name, Pete. You're up early, aren't you?
I go to work every day at 3 o'clock in the morning. Where have you been? You work nighttime?
Oh, in a way.
What do you mean?
Well, I haven't got any working hours, so I guess they're all working hours.
Where do you work?
Pete, I'm a painter. I paint pictures. I look around and paint what I see.
You, Peter? Artiste?
Yeah.
I work wholesale produce market. Where's your family?
Well, my wife's visiting her folks. She'll be here in a week or so.
Lonesome, huh?
Oh, little.
You got kids? I got 7 kids.
7, that's swell. I got only 2.
I got 7. All go to school except 2, the babies. Sometime you lonesome, come over to the house. Have a drink of wine, eat some food, and meet the kids.
Thanks, Pete, I will.
Jim, your name?
Yeah, Jim Smith.
All right, Jim, come on over. We have a good time.
Okay. So I went over to Pete's the next night and met the family.
Hello, Jim Smith. Come in. You have supper with us. Hey, Angela, come and get some wine for our new neighbor. This is Jim Smith. Angela, my wife.
How you doing, Mrs. Areola?
Hello, young fella.
These are my kids. Hey, kids, wait 1 minute. Meet the new neighbor, Jim Smith. And now let's see. We start with the babies. This is Nicky.
Hi, Nick.
Hey, Angela, look. The neighbor pick up Nicky. Nicky, you like this fella? Sure you like him, but that's so fine. This little girl is Nora, my little flower. This fella's Pat. Hey, Pat, how do you feel?
Okay, Pa. Hello, Mr. Smith.
Hello, Pat.
This lady, oh, she's a lady. Look, those high-heel shoes. She's Rosa. Gonna be opera singer.
I'm gonna be a school teacher.
All right, Rosa, is school teacher and opera singer, too.
Papa wants everybody to be an opera singer.
Next, the big fella. Joe, 14.
Hi.
Tom, 15 and a half.
Hello.
And the oldest boy is Dominic, 16 and a half.
Hi.
There's another one on the way. All right, everybody, this fella, our new neighbor, Jim Smith. All right, Jim, drink this wine. Now, come on, kids, let's give a song. Oh, solo me, everybody together. Dominic, give me one chord enough and make it a good one.
Well, we all sang, and I sang as loud as anybody else. We drank and had supper together and talked, and before I left that house, I knew how important a part of America it is. What a fine American Pete is, and his wife, and all the kids. They've all been up to my place for a visit. Now and then the oldest boy, Dominic, comes up alone and talks. Everybody I've met on this block so far has had something to talk about. Dominic, for instance, wants to know if he ought to go to college, like his father wants him to, or if he ought to get out and go to work down at the wholesale produce market and help out with the family expenses. Well, I don't say anything. I just listen. And after 2 or 3 visits, Dominic answers all his own questions. He gets up and he says,
"Well, thanks a lot, Mr. Smith. Thanks for telling me. That's what I'll do. I'll go to college and work both. I guess there's time for everything. If a fellow makes up his mind to find the time. I can work during summer vacation. And I can work Saturdays. I'd work Sundays, too, but we're Catholics, and Ma'd get sore if I didn't go to church Sunday. Well, I'll be seeing you. Gee, that sure is a swell picture."
There's a fellow who's got a furnished room in the house at the corner. He's a doctor at the hospital up the hill. There's a clinic up there, and I drop in once in a while to see the people when they're sick. And that's where I met this fella. Well, the kids love him. They're afraid of the other doctors, but they love Dr. John. John Bailey is his name, but they call him Dr. John. We got to talking, and he came up one afternoon for a drink. I wanted to know why the kids weren't afraid of him. Most people are a little afraid of anybody whose color is a little different from their own, and Bailey's color is the blackest black you ever saw. I asked him about the kids not being afraid of him.
Well, maybe it's because kids are people at their best. A kid with a pain, all he wants is to have the pain taken out of him. I don't go to work on a kid until I get him to know him. We talk a little while, and the first thing I know, they forget I'm a doctor. They even forget I'm colored. And then I know I can go to work. The greater part of pain is feeling hopeless about it. And I never feel hopeless about anything. Kids find out about that, and they stop being afraid of pain, too. Well, by that time, more than half of it's gone, and what's left of it is on its way out. I laugh a good deal, too, because laughter's just about as strong as sunlight as a healing force. Where there's laughter, there's never fear. It helps the kids.
Well, how does it happen that you do laugh, though?
Well, I didn't used to. I used to let my own troubles grow until finally I found out that was foolishness. The living are healthy. Life is healthy. I know that from my way. I've got to help them with medicine and heat and treatment and all that. But what really heals them is their own faith. Mind if I have another drink?
Go ahead. Pour me one, too. All the people in this block are like that, like Bailey and Pete and Mike Okagawa and the old man and his granddaughter. But this block's no different from any other block in any other town in America. People are like that all over the place. And when you've got people with light coming out of them, like it comes out of these people, and you've got light coming out of their houses and the streets they live in and the towns where these streets are and the whole land where these towns are, you hear them coming to life in the morning. The alarm clock's ringing, the faucet's running, and everybody getting up to start another day. You know they're a happy people because they belong to a happy nation. They're a free people, and they're glad to be alive. I've done a lot of looking around all over this country because that's my work. And everywhere I've gone, from the biggest city to the smallest town, I've seen people with light in them. Human people. People who are young and friendly and kind. Oh, I know I've seen bad people too, all kinds of them. But I looked a long time, and it's gotten so I can see them right through people who look as if they're bad. But they're not bad. They're having trouble. They're up against something. Things have gone wrong. They've lost faith. They need more things than they've got. They're out fighting because they don't know what else to do about the trouble. But even these people are good people. Something's pressing against their spirits, hurting them. Everything isn't perfect in any block in any town or city in this country. But in this country, it's always trying to improve. It's always working at the job. The same as a painter's got to work at a picture he's painting. Look out this window down at the street. It's not a fancy street. The houses aren't much. People in them aren't people you read about in newspapers and magazines. But down there is America. That street and those houses and the people living in them. There is the strength of this nation and the hope of the world. Look at the light shining out of those humble houses. That light is the light of a happy nation, a free and growing people, a human people, a people without fear, a people who love instead of hate, whose casual everyday humanity is stronger than any other power in the world. This is a good block. I like it here because the best in people from all over the world is growing here into the first real nation of the world, the American nation, the nation of human people.
Burgess Meredith speaking. Thank you, William Saroyan. In many countries, the light of humanity flickers and dies, snuffed out by faceless men, by men who have no light in themselves and who therefore deny the existence of light anywhere. Our nation was formulated by men who cherish the light that comes from people. The meaning of our freedom is this: not here in our land. Darkness can never win. Let us resolve again, in the face of threatening shadows, that government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth. John Garfield, whom you will see soon in Warner Brothers as Seawolf, Nancy Kelly will be remembered for her work in Jesse James, Eduardo Cianelli, who played the unforgettable Trock in RKO's Winterset, Edmund Gwend, whose performance as the murderer in Foreign Correspondent received high acclaim, William Tracy, who played the delightful fresh kid in MGM's A Little Shop Around the Corner, and was now appearing in Darryl Zanuck's Tobacco Road, Tim Holt, who is starring in RKO's The Fargo Kid, and Clinton Rosamond, who is appearing in MGM's forthcoming Blossoms in the Dust, have joined the Free Company in presenting the first in a series of broadcasts, William Saroyan's original radio play, The People with Light Coming Out of Them. Leith Stevens composed and conducted an original music score. Charles Vander produced. To all these people, to the Screen Actors Guild, and to the American Federation of Radio Artists, and to the Columbia Network, all who have combined to make this series possible, this is Burgess Meredith offering the sincere thanks of the Free Company.
All those who enjoyed Mr. Saroyan's play, The People with Light Coming Out of Them, will be glad to know that a complete copy of the broadcast in printed form has been made available for distribution to all our listeners. For 10 cents, the actual cost of printing and mailing, you will receive your own copy by writing to the Free Company in care of the station to which you are now listening. Copies of subsequent broadcasts during this entire series of productions by the Free Company will also be made available each week. Next week at this same time, the Free Company will present a play by the Pulitzer Prize winner Mark Connolly titled The Mole on Lincoln's Cheek. The Free Company series is directed by Irving Reese. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.